Dahabshiil and Telesom took delivery from a sanctioned Iranian vessel. Part 1. The Facts. In September 2025, an Israeli military drone struck a liquefied natural gas tanker at a Houthi-controlled port on Yemen's Red Sea coast. The ship was carrying liquefied gas for Houthi militants when a tank exploded and the ship caught fire. 27 crew members fought the blaze for days. Houthi fighters forced them back onto the burning ship at gunpoint. It took 3 weeks and Pakistani diplomatic intervention to free them. 5 months later, that same vessel arrived at Berbera Port in Somaliland. Renamed. Re-flagged. Its paperwork said it came from Iraq. The vessel was Clifton, IMO 991102198, formally designated by the U.S. Treasury as blocked property under counterterrorism sanctions. Linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, the force that funds Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. Any port official with an internet connection could confirm its sanctions status in 60 seconds. Clifton offloaded its cargo over 9 days. Half went to SOMGAS, the energy subsidiary of Hormuud, parent company of Telesom. The other half went to Horn Petroleum, the fuel subsidiary of Dahabshiil, Somaliland's largest remittance group. Dahabshiil and Telesom move hundreds of millions of dollars annually through banks in the US, UK, and European Union. Accepting cargo from a sanctioned vessel is a potential violation of U.S. counterterrorism sanctions law. Legal exposure does not require chartering the ship. It requires accepting the delivery. Both companies did. Neither responded to questions. Horn Petroleum, the Dahabshiil subsidiary, later issued a statement denying allegations as false. The Somaliland government cleared Clifton to enter its waters. Its own tugs docked it. Its own port assigned it a berth. Port Authority Director Ali Diriyeh, a presidential appointee, did not respond to questions. Then the government quietly asked the ship to leave and pretended nothing happened. The LNG cargo was already in the tanks. Part 2. Hormuud has been in hot water before. Hormuud, in a different form, has been on OFAC sanctions before. 5 weeks after September 11, 2001, the U.S. Treasury designated Al-Barakat, a Somali financial network, as a terrorism financier. The U.S. government later delisted them from the sanctions list. But delisting is not exoneration. The United Nations Security Council documented what happened next. Hormuud Telecommunications was created by the former leaders of Al-Barakat. The same founders. The same ambition. A new name. Today, Hormuud controls 81% of Somaliland's mobile market and dominates its LPG, banking, and construction sectors. In a country with embryonic and barely functioning central bank, Hormuud and Dahabshiil are not just companies. They are the economy. For 25 years, this network has sought access to the U.S. financial system. In 2024, Hormuud hired Larry Andre Jr., the former United States ambassador to Somalia, as a lobbyist. His mission: correct the company's reputation and open American correspondent banking channels. Andre had spent 38 years receiving classified intelligence briefings on terrorism financing in the Horn of Africa. He retired in 2023. 16 months later, he was on Hormuud's payroll. He did not respond to questions. In August 2025, Dahabshiil CEO Abdirashid Douale attended a ceremony at Berbera Port, celebrating the largest fuel delivery in the territory's history. Multiple news outlets covered the well-publicized event. Not one printed the vessel's name. Multiple sources confirmed the omission was deliberate. When multiple outlets cover a public ceremony and none prints the ship's name, that is not an oversight. That is a decision. In the same 30-day window, 8 ships with sanctions indicators called Berbera. The Nafisha, MMSI 422935000, an Iranian-owned vessel, came directly from Iran. One vanished for 93 days before reappearing at Berbera. Sequential call signs. Coordinated registrations. One port. This is not coincidence. This is a supply chain. Part 3. The consequence. Somaliland government has detained 3 port employees after Clifton departed. No charges announced. It is unclear if their arrest is related to the Clifton. There is no indication that SOMGAS and Horn Petroleum executives face any action. Now consider what is at stake. After 34 years of seeking recognition, Somaliland finally achieved it. Israel became the first country to formally acknowledge its independence. Somaliland has since appointed an ambassador to Israel and is actively courting the United States for a military base at Berbera. Berbera is where a sanctioned Iranian vessel was docked, offloaded, and quietly expelled without consequence. Can a country asking the U.S. to station its military at Berbera afford to be labeled a sanctions violator? Will Somaliland government impose real oversight on the oligarchs who control its economy, its fuel, and its communications? For Somaliland, answers to Israeli questions may be very difficult to answer. Israel was the first nation to recognize Somaliland after 34 years. Ambassador Mohammed Hagi may have to explain how a sanctioned Iranian vessel carrying suspect oil financing the Iranian regime targeting Israeli cities and civilians, to flow freely through its ports. The vessel that delivered gas to Houthis in Yemen, the same Houthis firing Iranian-financed drones at Israeli cities, arrived in Somaliland 5 months later. Somaliland companies took delivery of its cargo. How does Somaliland, Israel's new partner on the Horn of Africa, explain that? These are not rhetorical questions. They are the questions that Israel, OFAC, the U.S. military, correspondent banks, and foreign governments will be asking. Nothing has changed, and the next vessel may already be on its way. Thanks for watching. Full report at SomalilandChronicle.com.